Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 8, Mayeva mana adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya. It tells, always think of me and absorb your intelligence in me. And then by doing that, you will always live in me and there is no doubt about it. Now Arjuna looks perplexed. Always 24 hours think of Krishna and absorb my entire intelligence in Krishna. How is that possible? So this is the highest level, Raganuga Bhakti. Only gopis of Vrindavan are of that caliber, of that highest level of devotional service, which is not possible for everybody for whatever reasons. They don't have the resources, they don't have the circumstances, or in spite of resources, circumstances, everybody cannot do this. Basically, only gopis could do that. But to come to that level is not possible. So Krishna tells, if you cannot do this, which is Raganuga Bhakti, which the gopis followed and the Sakhis followed in Vrindavana, if you cannot do that, then he says, follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, approaching a spiritual master, and through Siksha and Diksha, you follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga and then come up and come back to me to this level, from Sadhana Bhakti to Raganuga Bhakti. Arjuna is still perplexed. So Krishna says, if you cannot do this also, then you work for me, which Arjuna was ready, he was still thinking at that point in time. He was not ready to fight for Krishna. So Krishna says, you can fight for me, which later he did, he fought for Krishna. Now, if you cannot do direct work of Krishna, like there is a temple of Krishna, you can go there and stay in that ashram and do a lot of work. Direct work is there in and around the temple of Krishna. That a farm is there, you can do farm work. There is a garden is there, you can grow fruits and vegetables and flowers for Krishna's service. You can sew dresses of the deities there. A lot of direct work, cleaning and mopping the temple is there, washing pots. So many services are there and you can stay there and do all these services. It is like Krishna Karma, direct service of Krishna, like distribution of Krishna's literatures and going and getting some donations for the missionary activities of Krishna conscious activities. This is there. Now, if you cannot do this also, then Krishna says, you do this kind of services elsewhere, in some other organization, some corporate office, and then the fruits of those activities you give up to Krishna's missionary activities. Because there are some people who are doing this, maintaining a temple, maintaining Krishna's garden, maintaining Krishna's farm, maintaining Krishna's cows, and distributing Krishna's literature, and then doing some preaching and prachar. So they need some help, so you give up the fruits of your activities and send it to Krishna's service. And then Krishna says, if you cannot do this also, it's possible, everybody cannot do for various reasons. Why? Maybe somebody is a Muslim, somebody is a Christian, somebody is a Buddhist, somebody is following Jainism. For different reasons, their community members don't allow them to do this, donating for Krishna's cause. So he says, at least you give up the fruits of your activities for some other good cause, like a church, a mosque, a gurudwara, where they are doing good work, spreading God's message, theistic work they are doing. And if you cannot do that also, at least give up your fruits of your activities, your karma, the money that you have earned for some social causes, like digging wells, digging canals, putting some roads, planting trees, some donations at orphanages and old age homes, or schools, building some schools. Many of the punya karyas you can give up your activities. Now, if you cannot do that also, then bottom line, the very simple thing is, because you don't know why you should do all this. If you cannot, you do this. If you cannot do this, 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 you do this. If you cannot do this also, because you don't know why you should do all this, you don't have proper understanding. And then he says, you just begin gaining knowledge through this Bhagavad Gita, by a book of Bhagavad Gita, which is coming in the Parampara system, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then you start reading this, try to understand, who am I, why I am born, what is the purpose of life, what is this birth, death, old age and disease that is happening around me, what is this universe, why all these things are happening. So start gaining knowledge, try to understand. Once you start understanding and gaining knowledge in this way, what happens is, then you know you can start somewhere. like giving up the fruits of your activities for some good causes, or the next level, giving up the fruits of your activities directly to Krishna's activities, Krishna's missionary activities, or doing direct service at a Krishna's place, or following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and after that slowly come up to the level of Raghanuga Bhakti, always thinking of Krishna and absorbing one's mind in Krishna. In this way, going back home, back to Godhead, and live with Krishna and live in Krishna. So again, to summarize, always think of Krishna and absorb your mind in Krishna. You will live in Krishna, definitely, there is no doubt, and you will go back home, back to God. If you cannot do this, follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga through Siksha and Diksha, approaching a spiritual master. If you cannot do that also, then do some Krishna karma, do direct work of supporting the missionary activities of some Krishna organization. If you cannot do that also, you work elsewhere, and the fruits of that activity you give up for Krishna's missionary activities. If you cannot do that, give up the fruits of your activities, the money that you earned through your karma and through your activity, to some religious activity. If you cannot do that also, at least give up the fruits of your activities, of your work, and the money that you earned to some good causes, social work. So I'll give one analogy or an example, easy to understand. Just like a mathematics teacher, when people pass out of primary school and then they come to the high school, and then this mathematics teacher, first day he is attending and bringing, talking to the students who have just come to high school. He says, I'm setting a goal for you, all of you. Maths is one subject only where students can score 100%, 100 out of 100 marks. Maths is the one subject you can score. So maths teacher is very proud of his subject that he is teaching, and students look perplexed. How can I score 100? Last so many years at school, I never scored beyond 40 or 50 marks, and he is telling I have to score 10%. And he is setting a goal, a group goal, that everybody should score like 10%. So the teacher understands the perplexity on the faces of the students. Therefore, he says, if you cannot score 100, score a 90. Still, some people are relieved, some students are relieved, but not all. Then he says, at least score a 80. Some more students are relieved, but still other students are doubtful of scoring even a 80. He says, at least score a 70. And then he goes on to say, if you cannot score 70, at least score a 60, and that is the bottom line. I'm not going to reduce the bar anymore. And still there are some students who think, even 60 is not possible. He says, don't worry, that is the bottom line. I will help you to score, because based on the past record in this school, I've been teaching more than 2 decades. Every year, many students have scored 10% marks, and many scored 90, 80, 70, and nobody has scored below 60. This is my past record. None of you should destroy that record that we are having. So look forward to score very high marks in mathematics, and let us see who will score 10% marks in mathematics. So similarly, Krishna and his representatives, the Guru, who are teaching this Bhakti Yoga, coming in this line, they are very, very practical people. They know the circumstances of each person. They know the caliber and capacity and the resources of each person that they are having. So accordingly, they are not forcing anybody that you must do only this, only this, only this, only this, only this. Is like, it's not possible. So that's why Krishna and his representative, the Guru, are very, very practical people. They say, you do this. If you cannot, 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 you do this. That's it, the bottom line. If you cannot, score somewhere where it's possible, and slowly come up to this level, step by step. So set a lofty goal, but simple small steps. Go from the bottom, the steps of the ladder, step by step you go up to the higher and higher level. Thank you for tuning into our channel. I'm sure you will like this presentation. You please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your loved ones, and they would also appreciate for this message and a proper understanding. If you cannot, what you should do?